In a previous part, we discussed the traditional programs and the three traditional educational programs were the hospital-based diploma program and the associate degree program and the baccalaureate program. In this part, we will discuss the non-traditional pre-licensure programs, and these programs are not common here in our country. So we will discuss and we will go through them quickly because these kinds of programs are not familiar here and not common. But just to highlight that these programs also enhance the need to prepare nurses with a higher degree in nursing. So these programs include two programs, the accelerated programs and the external degree program. Now we will talk about each one in specific. Regarding the accelerated program, it is basically a baccalaureate or graduate degree in other fields. So students who have baccalaureate or graduate degree in other fields like sociology, whatever, he can get in the nursing program, but he has to complete in 12 to 18 months in nursing courses during this program. And it is considered as a fastest route to licensure to be as an RN according to American Association of College of Nursing in 2005. Now, in order to get this accelerated program, you have to fulfill a heavy credit load and intense clinical experience in order to take the 12 to 18 months preparation for being a baccalaureate degree in nursing. Now, the other form is the external degree program, and in this program, it is not required to attend classes or to follow up with any prescribed method of learning. And the student should be assessed using a standardized and validated examination. And it is basically open in the university, and it depends basically on self-study by students themselves. So this is we consider it as the external degree program. As we mentioned before, those types of programs are not common here, and basically it is not common in our country. So it's mentioned in your book, so that's why we discussed them. There are several similarities among the traditional entry level for the pre-licensure programs. What are these similarities? Now, similarities could be related to academic similarities, and it could be administrative similarities, or it could be similarities related to students. So, what are the academic similarities for these traditional programs? First of all, it is the nurse should success or should complete the NCLEX for to be considered as a registered nurse, and it should be approved also by the state board. And also, all these programs should fulfill similar number of credits as a basic nursing education. So this is related to academic similarities. Now, related to administrative similarities, these programs basically have adequate financial support, should have adequate financial support, and this is the major concern for many programs because they all always relatively expensive to operate. Now, schools often compete with each others for clinical spaces in the hospitals and healthcare facilities. So it's also other similarities. So this is we can consider it as each program should look for the appropriate learning experiences for their students. And the last thing is the preparation for graduate for the current practice. All these programs strive to prepare their graduates to be able to fulfill the minimum requirement of being a professional and practice nurse in the clinical areas. Now, regarding the similarities for the students, the recruitment criteria and the selection criteria of the student basically is the same all over those programs, and there is also legal concerns and legal responsibilities, and these legal responsibilities um, make students look for their rights as individual, and they are challenging for the admission and for their progression, and for other policies regarding to dismissal policies, and also another concern related to malpractice coverage for the students. All these considered as a legal concern for all students. The other thing is the diversity of the student body, which is most of the students have English as a second language, and this is considered as a challenging for nursing faculty and all types of nursing program. So special courses and other forms of assistance are being developed in order to enable students to fulfill the academic challenges and to succeed in nursing. Um, we talk about the baccalaureate education. Now we are going to discuss also the nursing education programs at the graduate level, and these include the master preparations and the doctoral studies. Now, regarding the master preparation, basically it's prepare nursing students to fulfill specific requirements in order to hold leadership positions, and in other also master programs or master preparation programs, also it's maybe prepare nurses to be a clinical specialist so they can practice nursing for example, special unit or special in some specialties like anesthetist, like ICU, like so there are what we call clinical specialization regarding specific areas, and also this master preparation also should fulfill minimal preparation of nurses in order to be able to hold teaching positions in nursing institutions or in academic institutions. Now this is related to master preparation. Now, if the nurse students decided to continue his doctoral studies, this will give him a chance for more academic advancements. So he can teach at universities like assistant professor, and he might be lecturer at the university or colleges. And the other thing which is also valuable for all nurses, the doctoral studies prepare nursing students after graduation or at the graduate level, I mean, in order to conduct research. This will help them to be a good researcher, and also will advance the profession of nursing on the same time. Now, what are the doctoral programs in nursing? We have several programs for doctoral programs. The Doctor of Nursing Science, and we have also Doctor of Science in Nursing, Doctor of Nursing Education, and Doctor of Philosophy in Nursing, and this is the most commonly one and the most traditional one, and basically most or our countries have this type of doctoral program, and we also have the Doctor of Education and Doctor of Public Health and Doctor of Nursing Practice, which is the DNP. Now, if you look at this picture, you can see that a nurse can travel from being a licensed practical nurse to associate degree nursing, and he can also pass through the way in order to reach BSN, which is the baccalaureate degree in nursing. After he finishes baccalaureate degree, he can continue his master's, and after continuing the master degree, he or she can also reach the PhD philosophy or doctor of philosophy in nursing. Now you decide where you are going to end. So where are you getting off? Whether you want to get off as a PSN or as a master or a PhD, and this is your way. You can decide wherever you want to stop. Let us consider this question as a critical thinking question. Imagine that you could reconstruct or restructure nursing education for an ideal world. Where would you like to begin? And how many levels of nursing education would you incorporate in your model? And would each level be terminal or articulated with other educational levels? And would you where would you general education fit in your model? And how would you see the graduate of each program functioning on the healthcare team? So think about these questions and try to give us your responses based on this question. Where would you like to begin in nursing education, and where would you like to end in your nursing education model? We have also other forms of nursing education, like a registered nurses baccalaureate program, and we have also what we call the articulated programs, and we have the distance education. So other forms of education in nursing. Now the regarding the registered nurse baccalaureate program is designed for RNs, registered nurses, we mean, with either diploma or the associate degree. Now, related to the articulated programs, it enables students to move from one education level to the next level. And regarding the distance education, and this is what we actually do nowadays with you, we are teaching you from distance. This is kind of education that is used for nursing. And in distance education, as you can see and you can feel here from our uh, teaching or education, this approach focuses on making education available through a variety of distance technologies, including the online strategies and the video broadcasting. And it also the courses also should be taught in areas distant from the campus due to sometimes it is common in some universities and colleges, but nowadays we are conducting such kind of education because of the emergency of COVID-19 and the um, because as you all know that we are now having the emergency remote teaching. So we use the distance teaching through our web-based and the computer mediated programs and online teaching, and this could be synchronous or not synchronous. Now, for the online courses, it's sometimes referred to as virtual universities, and the students should register for the class and are given a password to access the system. This is used in universities or colleges that use distance education commonly and frequently. Now, the individuals in the group, they should share their mailbox and they serve as an electronic classrooms to facilitate the group forum among those students. So this is what we call the distance education. So several opportunities. These opportunities after the or post licensure education and preparation, and these several opportunities in order to continue the growth of the career and the advancement of the career and the profession are available in order to make the registered nurses more advanced in their professional preparation. And examples of these opportunities are the residencies and the structured orientation of the new graduates. Now, as we all know that new graduates need orientation to the work facility and their new role and the time to become proficient in using their newly learned skill. So these opportunities, or let us say these educational opportunities, prepare those new graduates by giving them orientation programs and sometimes what we call the internships or the residences for those new graduates. And these programs should be instituted by the hospitals in order to increase the orientation of the new graduate about the hospital policy and their skills, and it might also sometimes train them to be more proficient and more competent in achieving some nursing skills. Now, the other educational opportunity is the continuing education. And continuing education is defined as planned learning experiences beyond a basic nursing educational program. So, in addition to the basic nursing educational skills, or let us say basic nursing educational preparations, the learning experiences are designed in order to promote the development of the knowledge, the skills, and the attitudes of the enhance of the student for the enhancement of the nursing practice and improving the healthcare to the public. So this is another type of educational opportunities, and these continuing education programs also could be established or could be conducted by the hospital itself and by the healthcare organizations, and it also rather uniform the system of measuring, recording, reporting, and accumulating and transferring and recognizing the participation in non-academic credit offerings. Now, the last educational opportunity is the advanced practice preparation. And let us talk about the advanced practice preparation. It is a specialized program that have been developed to help individuals in order to prepare for roles of increased breadth and scope. And these programs may be incorporated into preparation leading to a particular degree, and it exists as a part of a school continuing education program, and it might also result in certification after this examination. So this is regarding the advanced nursing practice. So again, as we mentioned, the advanced nursing practice as part of other educational opportunities. It may lead, as we mentioned, to a particular degree, and it can result also in a certification after being exposed to certain examination. Now, the advanced nursing practice, it might be either clinical nurse specialists, it might be nurse practitioners, it might be certified nurse midwives, or it might be a certified registered nurse like anesthetist. So any kind of these let us say professions, or let us say subspecialties, it might lead to advanced nursing practice. Now, look at this picture. You can see those guys, and those guys, they are saying, wow, there are so many exciting opportunities in order to continue education or for continuing education. And basically they are nurses, and those nurses are looking for several doors, and as you can see that those doors could be college, hospital, university, volunteer agencies, or private proprietary group. All those are doors that are available in order to continue education after getting your degree. So whether you can choose whatever of those doors in order to continue your education. For example, you are working in a hospital, your hospital can be let us say the area or the venue for continuing education. If you are working in a university as an academic or assistant professor, this also could be a chance for you to enhance your education or continue your education in some areas or some divisions. by the continuing education programs that's offered by the university, and so on. So, as we mentioned, you can choose or pick the door that it is eligible and that it is suitable for you in order to continue your education. Again, let us discuss this critical thinking question. Do you believe that continuing education should be a mandatory requirement for the renewal of one's license? Why or why not? So think about this and let us know what is your response in this regard. And if you feel that it is mandatory for renewal of licensure for a nurse, why do you think it is important and why do you think it is not important? Now, we will discuss factors bringing about change in nursing education. And as you all know that during the 20th century, society experienced tremendous change in nursing education. And nursing as a part of the society has also experienced enormous changes in programs and in practices and everything. Now, there are many numbers, or there are many factors, sorry, influence nursing education. Now, in this slide, we will mention those factors, then we will talk specifically about each one. The first one is the Brown Report, and the second is the development of national examination standards. The third is the national accreditation of nursing programs, and the fourth is the changes in nursing services. And the fifth is the report of the Surgeon General's Consult Group on Nursing. And the last one is the American Nurse Association position paper. Now, in order to know what is the American Nurse Association position paper, you need to read the display 2.2, which lists the four major positions of the American Nurse Association, and it is in the page 74. So you can go and read the display 2.2, which contain the major response positions, four major positions of the American Nurse Association position paper on educational preparation. This you can find it in page 74. Now, what about the Brown Report, which was declared in 1948? The Brown Report it determined the society needs for the nursing, and it also described the inadequacies in nursing schools, and it also emphasized the nursing education to be placed in universities and colleges rather than being based on hospital, and it encouraged recruitment of men and minorities into nursing school. So, because of all these things, and this is what declared in the Brown Report in 1948, those things also influenced changes in nursing education. Now, related to Surgeon General Consultants Group report, in this report, they announced or they declared the need for more nurses, and also they emphasized the lack of adequate fund for the education in nursing. And again, they discussed the few schools were providing adequate nursing education, so they need more schools in order to provide nursing education. And also recruitment in nurses also was very low, and more schools also were needed in order to increase the number of nurses graduates, and those nursing graduates later on they can work in hospitals, and also the need for the baccalaureate degree nurses in order to hold leadership roles and leadership positions in hospitals. Now, what about the American Nurse Association's position paper? Now, this basically the American Nurse Association position paper. As we all know that the American Nurse Association believes that the improvement of the nursing practice and the profession as a whole depends on the advancement in nursing education. So after studying the issue for 3 years, A position paper on educational preparation for nurse practitioners and assistants to nurse was published, and it resulted, or it is the American Nurse Association reaffirmed this position, and the position of the paper are listed in the display 2.2, which you can find it in page 74, as you mentioned before, and it resulted in the entry into practice controversy. So this is the first thing regarding the position, the American Nurse Association position paper. Also, in this paper, there was a concern and issue of not being considered as a profession. It's related to nursing profession. They didn't consider it as a profession. So there was debates and concerns about not considering nursing as a profession. So these things were influencing factor for changing education in nursing. Now, what are the problems associated with changing educational requirements for the licensures? There are several problems, and these problems are associated with making any changes in the educational requirement for the licensure. And the four major problems are related to titling of the nursing, and the scope of the practice for the nurses, and the grandfathering also close, and last is the interstate endorsements. So all those are problems associated with changing educational requirement for the licensure. You can go for your book in page 75 and expand your information related to these problems. You can read more about these problems. Now we have what we call the differentiated practice. And in this kind of differentiated practice, um, it can be defined as the practice of structuring nursing role on the basis of education, experience, and competence. So, competency expectation and differentiated practice are the major important thing regarding this differentiated practice. The other thing also that some organizations or nursing organizations like the American Association of College of Nurses and American Organization of Nurses, uh, it works on the competences, and it also emphasizes the importance of competences in nursing, and it defines competences for nurses. Also, there were many special projects to differentiate nursing practice from other practices, from other healthcare practices. Now, discussing the forces for change in nursing education. And as we all know, as the nursing profession advances and education remains responsive to the changes in the area, and that these changes that occur, it is imperative that nursing education undergoes modifications. So, what are the forces that influence the change in nursing education? The first one is the computer technology in nursing education. And when we are talking about computer technology in nursing education, we talk about computer technology in the classrooms, and this is what we actually do nowadays by preparing classes on computer, and as you can see, all we can upload all these classes or all these presentations on the computer, so we can use the computer technology in order to teach in classrooms, and the computer also can be used in a new way or new technologies or new approaches of teaching, like what you are doing nowadays, distance learning and online teaching. So computer is very important for classrooms and for distance education, as we discussed before. Although computers in the hospital environment, it is very important to talk about the importance of computers in hospitals. So, as we all know, that healthcare settings could not operate without computers and computerized equipment. We can use computers for as a record for patients' information nowadays, and it also facilitates the communication between healthcare professionals, and it also can be used to save information records for the patient for a long period of time. So the use of computer in hospital environment is very important nowadays. We cannot also deny the usefulness of computer for hospital and for healthcare setting. Now, also the distance learning also another force for change in the nursing education. And maybe we talked about distance learning in previous slides. So it is also one of the challenges or one of the important significant challenges for changes in nursing education. Now, the establishment of the program also that provides education and mobility is another force for change in nursing education. Uh, we also need to know the importance of increase in the community-based practice experiences. So there are many community-based practice experiences that also influence the change in nursing education, and it is another significant change in nursing practice. It is the trend toward community-based practice, and as we know that most nursing programs, especially hospital-based and associate degree programs, have a history of being strongly oriented toward the hospital as a primary clinical teaching environment. And the community, as the term was used in nursing education, it was associated with public health nursing more specifically, and it was to be found in the baccalaureate education only. The another force is the increase in the emphasis in theories and research in nursing education, and we have several theories and theorists also in nursing. We can mention some of those theories and what they theory or model talk about. We have let me talk about the for example, the Dorsa Orim, which talk about the self-care theory, and it recognizes a self-care theory for the nursing, and it's for the concept that each person has a need for provision and management of self-care action to achieve a, a consistency, and the individual is unable to provide this self-care. We can say that he has a self-care deficit, for example. So this is example of the nursing theories. And also research is very important in nursing nowadays, and we all know about the importance of evidence-based research and evidence-based practices that basically base the new nurses or nurses nowadays, they base their practice on research evidence. So it's very important to conduct research in nursing in order to come up with recommendations, and we can use these recommendations as a baseline in order to change policies and change guidelines in nursing practice, and we can use the outcome or sorry let's say the result of this research as evidence in order to apply these practices in the real world. And we all know that education also supports not only the practice support the research outcome and research results. The education also support the evidence-based practice, and the importance of conducting research is very important and helpful for education as well. Um, if you want also to increase your or expand your knowledge on this topic, you can go to to any of these related websites. These websites would be either the American Association of College of Nursing and the National League for Nursing, the National League for Nursing Accreditation Commission, and the Commission on Collegiate Nursing Education. So where any one of those websites you can visit, you might expand your knowledge and your information about educational preparation in nursing. from the past until nowadays.